All right, welcome everyone, and thank you so much, Nina, for being here with me. One of the most powerful things that we can do as believers is share the stories that have happened in our lives, because this can be encouragement to others, and also it can also remind us of what God has done in His goodness. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with me today, Nina. And I know you have shared some things with me, but I'm just hoping it will encourage others. And so, my question for you is, what is a miracle or a testimony you have from the recent years that you would like to share?
Well, first of all, I'm super excited to just be able to be a part of this. I love your content and I love supporting anyone who wants to talk about God on their channel, on their profile. So kudos to you. Keep it up. Um, Definitely. I am a talker, so just heads up to people who are listening. I do talk a lot, but I'll try and keep this, short and sweet as possible. I think it has to start back with a couple years ago. This is probably the most recent miracle that God has done for me, but it has a bit of a context backstory.
Mm.
So I first of all, I'm a type A personality, I'm a perfectionist, and I decided to go to school to become a CRNA, certified registered nurse anesthetist. So I give anesthesia to people. That was really hard schooling. And I had gone through like a life or death experience like 10 years ago, and I really believe that God saved my life to become a CRNA. So I was driven with purpose, and I was just let's get through the schooling and be the best CRNA I can be. I've had surgery in the past, and I know how vulnerable that situation can be. And so I was like, let me try and be a source of comfort for people going through that, and also show them like I'm capable of taking care of you and keeping you safe throughout that surgery, right? So that's why I
Mhm.
wanted to become a CRNA. So I made it through the schooling, and I decided to work at like a trauma hospital first couple years. I'm down in SoCal, so I've been kind of in SoCal since I graduated the CRNA program. And I was, doing good, just doing my thing, lots of learning, lots of stress. People always say anesthesia is so easy. You put the patient to sleep, and then we get back in our chair and we do Sudoku. That's not necessarily the case, especially all the time. But when bad things do happen, we have to react quickly and safely for the patient. And so I have found it to be relatively stressful depending on where you work, but I really liked my job. I love the people I work with, and I love be able to provide the skills and the care that's good for the patients. So anyways, I'm working there. I decide to go over towards like Inland Empire for my next jobs.
Mhm.
And I would say at this point, 2 years ago, so I graduated in 2020, like
Mhm.
literally when COVID happened. So it was an interesting time the first couple years, right? Um, but yeah, so 2 years ago, at this point, I've been a CRNA for 3 years.
Mhm.
2 years ago, I'm working, it's not a trauma center, but there's still sick patients, and I'm still like, I'm working a lot of hours. Occasionally, I do like once a week, I do a 24-hour shift to do OB, do epidurals and spinals for
Mhm.
laboring mothers. And I just started, yeah, it was in the fall, actually, 2 years ago. I started to have basically unexplained nausea vomiting, which
Mm.
seems kind of weird, right? Because
Mhm. Mhm.
it's not like the most horrible like condition you can have. It's not like, I think people categorize like headaches and migraine and fatigue with like
Mhm.
nausea vomiting, but it's crazy how often that would happen for me. And I hate like vomiting. That's like the thing I can't deal with. So it had first happened outside of work, and then gradually as I went into work, it happened every day, every other day. It doesn't matter if I ate on time, if I didn't eat, if I just ate, if I'm with a patient that's super easy case or difficult case, you name it, I pretty much had the nausea slash retching. Um, Thankfully not as much vomiting, but it was a lot of just like you're just when you're nauseous, you try so hard not to
Mhm.
throw up, basically, right? So all your willpower is controlled on that. So I really wasn't able to provide the best care. And I'm not willing to start a case knowing that I'm feeling sick if I can't be 100% there for the patient.
Mhm.
Like I'm all about patient safety. And if I am a risk to the patient's safety, then I will not do the case. You know what I'm saying? Like if I
Mhm.
am the problem, I will not contribute to that. And I think that was kind of the first like wake up call, like something's wrong. Like this is
Mhm.
not normal. I'm looking at my friends, my coworkers who are working like this, and they're not having difficulty. Like,
Mhm.
and at this point, I've started going to doctors and asking my friends and my family for advice and prayer. And it's just like, they're like, did something happen to trigger this? Because they're like, and they're like, oh, are you pregnant? I'm like, I'm definitely not pregnant. That's like the first thing people kept asking me at work. I was like, no, no. So I'm just like, what's going on? And so I went to like get an EGD done when they put a scope down your mouth. You're sedated, but they put a scope down to check your stomach. And and at first I was like, maybe it's a stomach ulcer or maybe it's cancer. I don't know. I think in worst case scenario, right? I feel like people in the medical field are like the worst patients because we're always like diagnosing ourselves like the absolute worst thing, right? So I'm like, I don't know what it is. Came back normal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had other tests done and other labs, everything was pretty much normal, which is like good, but also bad because I had no answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that showed was actually I have a really rapid stomach emptying. So I had a peanut butter sandwich. They put little bits of radioactive stuff on there, so I eat it. After an hour and a half, they scan my stomach to see how much of the peanut butter sandwich is left. Normally, people have half of it still left in their stomach. I had less than 10%. So for sure, my stomach acid was like super strong or something. I don't know what that means. It doesn't really explain why I was feeling sick though, but it was just one more, tool in the toolbox to be like, okay, maybe that's something I should think about
Mm-hmm.
trying to help. So anyways, I went to 10 different doctors, and at this point, I'm having this every day. I'm calling off work, and it was super frustrating for me because number one, CRNAs don't just commonly deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt very alone. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, some of the people that I worked with didn't support me or believe me. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, well, obviously I'm a good worker. If I'm calling off is because I'm sick. I'm not just trying to like mess with the schedule and make everyone super stressed because I can't be there. So why won't you believe me? And I felt very like I had support, but I think, focused more on the people that didn't support me. And that really brought me down. I feel like you can have 10 positive things said about you, but it takes one negative thing and that's all you ruminate on.
Mm-hmm.
That was the kind of person I was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard to deal with that. And I know after a month of that, going to all these diagnostic tests, basically calling off and feeling horrible about myself, I decided to be like, maybe it's a job environment. I'm going to quit. I
Mm-hmm.
put in my notice,
Mm-hmm.
and a mini miracle is that you actually have to put in a 3 month notice for my job because it takes 3 months to get credentialed and to replace me. Which, if you want to quit a job, do you want to be there for 3 more months? Let's be honest, probably not. So I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But praise God, I think I was able to work something out with the admin people, and they actually agreed to terminate me immediately. I
Wow.
actually didn't have to worry about the three. So that was actually like a mini miracle because that
Mm-hmm.
that's not usually common.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think someone, an admin believed me and probably was like, maybe it's just best that we not try and
Mm-hmm.
because it's not like you can really depend on me for
Correct.
scheduling if you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly feeling sick. So I left that job. And then within 3 months, I finally got back to normal. So I was like, oh, maybe it was that job environment. I got recruited to go to another place where easier hours,
Mm-hmm.
not as stressful in terms of like patient population stuff. Still sick people, but
Yeah.
not too bad. And I knew some of the people that were there, so that was kind of cool. So I was like, okay, let's just try again. So I start working there, and I kid you not, within like 4 months, I start getting sick again.
Mm-hmm.
Similar symptoms. It starts off like once for like 2 weeks and then once a week and then now like every other day, now every day. So at this point I'm like, it's happening again. And I don't know about you, girl, but when you've been through something and you overcome it and it comes back a second time, it really hurts the spirit.
So, like, what were some of those emotions or thoughts that were going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, I think I felt even more hopeless and helpless, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was asking God for help and healing and stuff like that, but I honestly thought it was my job, that
Mm-hmm.
place. And so when I left, I was like, oh, everything's fine. So when it came back again, I think I got probably super sad, definitely like depressed in a way that like I felt like, what can I do? I've already done the test. Everything has been normal. And if I redo everything, it's going to be normal again. So I felt very like I don't know, something about trying to control something you can't control makes you feel really helpless, hopeless, and I have so many great support systems, my family, my close friends, and even some of my coworkers are all trying to help me. They're trying to come up with
Mm-hmm.
solutions. to help me. And I just was like, I started kind of feeling like I was giving up. And that,
Mm.
like, I've tried it, it didn't work. I've tried this, it doesn't work. I mean, I even did a brain scan to see if there was something with my vomiting center in my brain to see if that, because someone suggested that. I was like, that's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. But
Mhm.
of course, my brain is normal, you know. But I mean, it's good to affirm that. But I was just like, man, you can't even, like, what's going on? So this job was actually able to, uh, I had better bosses here and they were able to give me a medical leave. So for the next, so August of last year, 2024, I started my medical leave.
Mhm.
So the max is about 6 months.
Mhm.
So during that time, I was told maybe you should try therapy,
Mhm.
right? I was like, okay, fine. Maybe if it's not a physical ailment that I can control and solve, maybe I can try, but there's a mind gut connection.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm still fighting, right? I'm still trying to control this thing
Yeah.
as best as I can. But I'm like still I'm trying to maintain my faith. And I will say I was never mad at God when this happened.